So in the 1960s, it was actually illegal for LGBTQ folks to gather in public, for LGBTQ folks to be served a drink, and a big law was that you had to wear 3 articles of clothing that match your gender, or you could be arrested. 3.
So they're going to count them?
Yeah, right. So right now we would both be, taken down to the station in 1969, which is kind of crazy because it really isn't that long ago, right?
No.
I mean, to think about that, LGBTQ folks, couldn't gather in public. Couldn't even be served a drink of alcohol, and then had to wear 3 articles of clothing that matched their gender. So, ironically enough, the mafia found money in gay bars, especially in New York, and would buy up LGBTQ bars, throw up, just black paint, barely running water. But they would pay off the police to get around those laws, right? So that way, LGBTQ folks could gather together, have a drink, and those kind of things. The mafia only did that to make money. They certainly weren't necessarily our friends at that time period, but that's how it worked. So often, the police would come in and raid gay bars if they weren't paid by the mafia that particular week. And in June 28th, 1969, the police came in because the Genovese crime family, who owned Stonewall at the time, did not pay them off. And LGBTQ folks really stood up and said, we're here, we're queer, get used to it, we've had enough. You have to think in the 1960s of everything that was happening, right? It was, the women's rights movement, the civil rights movement, there was protest against Vietnam. You're heading into just a time when people were really standing up for equality. So I think LGBTQ folks on that particular night finally said enough is enough, and it's our turn, to kind of be authentically who we are. That particular night, a lot of folks said it was maybe Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, who were trans women of color, who were, kind of involved in the LGBTQ rights movement that possibly started it, or Stormy Day LaVille, who was also kind of a drag king / trans person during that time period. You have to remember that the word trans and how people identified didn't really exist the way it does in 1969. So Marsha and Sylvia are now referred to as trans activists, even though during that time period, they probably didn't have the language to even describe themselves. Yeah. So they were really the ones that, even if they didn't start it, over the course of the next 6 days when the riots happened, they were out there at the forefront keeping it going.